2,850 pounds, a little J Feather 16-foot hybrid coming in on trade here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. 7-foot wide, easy towing body, ideal for small camp enthusiasts as well as people with reduced tow capacities like SUV and potentially certain minivan towers. We always want to be careful of that one though. This is the third time we've actually seen this RV here at Haylett RV. We sold it to its original owner. They traded it back into us. We sold it to the most recent owner, owner number 2. They traded it back into us when they were ready to update. Each owner has kept it about 2 to 3 years. And I think, gosh, I mean, both owners really, really took excellent care of this camper. Now, very often I like to show RVs in what I call travel mode, which is usually meaning slides closed. But in the case of this hybrid, it just means with the bed ends closed. And what's kind of nice, with no slides on the beds being on the ends, as the name bed end obviously implies, that must have come from the Department of Redundancy department, who keeps track of time in both London and England. Anyway, little Monty Python reference for those. And what I'm getting at is we can do this whole thing in here. You can basically use the camper without the bed ends down, which, although it does mean a little bit of extra work, if it's really cold during the day, one of the things you can do is just kind of close the bed ends like I've done here. And instead of just having basically a fabric sheet between you and the weather outside, you suddenly now have a laminated wall closing it back in. It will greatly help your heating and cooling, although obviously if you go to sleep with those down, you're going to lose that function again. I love this big window over here over the dining, by the way. And the bottom is an egress window. It has tilt open for airflow. The dinette has storage below the benches also. Free floating table, so if you want to take that outside for picnic time, you can. It can fold down into a little bonus sleeper. And you can see that there's a little kind of headboard pocket behind that cushion I have half folded down for you. Over here, this is not like a folding sleeper sofa. This is basically just a storage bench with some nice cushions on the back. But hey, you know what? It's nice enough that if you want to sit in here and shoot the breeze and chew the fat, or however you want to call it, there's enough little space here where a couple folks or a small family could have room on a rainy day, early in the morning or late at night. You want to chit-chat, grab a bite to eat, you got the space for it. This cabinetry we're looking at, it's all pocket screwed. It's not stapled together. That's just kind of a Jayco standard. It's what they do. And a full-size air conditioner in this little camper, 13,500 BTUs. Down below here, basic cooktop, been used a little, but sure ain't been used a lot. And I like that full, like, kind of counter to cabinet backsplash behind there. You know, cabinet space below, and you can see how there's kind of like an angle section of the cabinet right here. There is additional cabinet space down here as well. Kind of like the front bed, there's a little storage pocket below the that little mini almost bench shelf area of that rear one. Those bed ends, by the way, are rated for 1,050 pounds. Now, what's nice about that, that's like overkill, but it does mean that if the kids are horsing around, jumping around in those things, they're kind of overbuilt so that they don't get sprung and damaged. And if you spring that door, it could cause a leak because it is bending like not the way it's supposed to when it's closed. Simple, like car stereo style entertainment. And I'll give you a little tip on these. To control like inside versus outside speaker function, you actually sometimes need to use like the left-right balance fade. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't make obvious sense at first, but when you think about it, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm just shifting sound from one zone to another. TV hookups up here. There's not really a whole lot to mount a TV into. It wouldn't be super hard to run cables through and then mount something over on this side. But a little camper like this, most people don't do a TV, or you could do like just a pedestal style TV. This is a 5 cubic foot refrigerator and freezer. It is gas and electric. If you open this up, you actually do have a freezer pocket on top for your handy little popsicles. You know those little freezy pop popsicles that have the plastic edges on them that cut your mouth like paper cuts, but you absolutely love them because they're easy to go camping with? They're perfect for that kind of thing. Bathroom, super simple, but effective. Kind of like the rest of the camper. It just does what it needs to, where it needs to, nothing more. Back outside here, this is looking good. The skin's still gleaming. The bed end materials are still just like a nice polar white. So you can see that it hasn't like been folded away when everything was wet. Everything looks good. It looks to have been stored either indoors or under a cover. I don't have confirmation of each, but experience tells me that when an RV like this is, you know, 5 or 6 years old, then it has to have been kept, you know, under some kind of protection away from Midwestern weather. I mentioned earlier about a 7-foot wide easy towing body means it's easier to see around this thing, although I do always recommend tow extension mirrors, and hey, wouldn't you know it, we have those things on the shelf here from Haylett RV, but even if you don't get them from us, please do the smart thing and be safe. Good look at those nice dark tinted safety glass windows right there, helping keep the sunshine and Miss Nosy Neighbor out, or Mr. Nosy Neighbor. I don't want to presume anything, because I've met plenty of Mr. Nosy Neighbors in my time as well. Aluminum wheels, and above that is a galvanized steel wheel well. So God forbid this thing does have a tire failure. There's some protection there to help, you know, prevent damage, because right above that wheel, for instance, is your furnace, water heater, refrigerator, and you don't want those things getting all smashed up. I think the only criticism I can really offer this RV, because you know, whenever I'm looking at a used RV, I always try to share at least one thing that isn't perfect, so you know that I'm not just blowing smoke at you here. It needs a little air in the tires. That is, and maybe just a quick interior dust off. It's just got some storage dust on it. I mean, that's the worst I can say about this one, ladies and gentlemen. And frankly, those things are things that you'd probably handle during any like spring pre-trip pass-through. One other quick note, this is a manual awning. 2015 was about the last year the Jay Feather little guys had a manual awning. I just want to point that out because it's so many people almost just assume power awning nowadays. And a quick look at the storage below the sofa right there. Interestingly, 2 jack cranks. I wonder, because they look like they're the same size, but you have scissor jacks on the front and stab jacks on the back. And there's some reasons for that. It's called scrub lines, and it's making sure that you don't accidentally drag anything due to the low clearance of this RV. But if you're more curious about that, give us a call. We can explain that in a little bit more detail. Short of that, guys, if you're looking to get rid of the family pop-up, or if you're looking to get your first camper, or you have a limited tow capacity, any of those scenarios or any combination thereof would make this an ideal addition to your little camping arsenal. So, give us a call. Take care. Stay safe. Have fun. And happy Haylett camping, everyone.